The theme of our public divination today is how high your witness's face value is. Now keep calm, close your eyes for 3 seconds, and calm your first instinct from the following one. Choose the card that resonates with you the most among 2 or 3 cards. First, let's look at the first group. In my opinion, the first group's strong face value isn't really experiential. His attractiveness might not be particularly high, because what appears is just a fire element plus 2 earth elements. I think its appearance is quite comfortable. It gives a slightly more steady feel, but it's not to say it's older, nor should it be that way. When put together, it feels more like a group, comfortable, a more soothing feeling, and after you look at it for a long time, because a fire element appears, it's just that after you look at it, when you blink, he might feel a little bit experienced, of course. This little experience could also be a lover's perspective, but it's not necessarily the case. In short, here is a fire element card that has a little experience. First, let's look at the chess cards that appear, the regular war cards. I would think that although the war card is a fire element, its energy is quite outgoing. Fire element, you hear it and you instantly feel it's kinda impulsive. But as for the sign, I think it's not really that, even though it's a fire element. But when he makes decisions, he is quite steady and prudent, because the wand, this station card, represents building on one's own foundation and then further development of a card. Its meaning is like this, which also means it won't say, in order to progress further, commit the existing foundation or tell all your secrets. She's not guilty. His decision making is relatively mature and stable. It's a pretty reliable type. Next, let's look at the placement of the new private currency. For this arrangement, I think he himself should actually be like a fairly frugal person. But I feel that in your relationship, he actually represents a derailment. So I think during your relationship, he's the type who is quite generous with spending money on you, meaning he's actually willing to invest time and energy into this relationship. And he's actually relatively transparent when it comes to money. He understands that the money he earns is actually for enjoyment and to better please himself. So he is so willing to invest money for this relationship because this is the relationship he wants. So he is willing to invest money for this relationship. And finally, let's look at the new closure 3 positions that appear behind the new closure 4. I would think it's just you guys. There would be some issues and conflicts in communication, more or less. This element can be seen as 1 fire element and 2 earth elements, which are kind of dry. That is, elements without water. There are no wind elements. Water and wind represent a type of communication, but water elements are relatively better. From this arrangement, I can't see your communication. So I think now that you've met him, can you both strengthen your communication? The above is an interpretation of this team dispatch. I hope this can help you. Next, let's look at the second set of cards. If we talk about the second set of cards, I think your source value is quite high, because in fact your words are also a win. The St. Empress Queen card has appeared. This card is a bit scary and is also an eye control. His appearance is more of the sunny type. When he smiles, it's very expressive. In fact, you might think he laughs like a little sun. First of all, let's look at the station that gets up. It's a positive position. That station card will be a little like the opponent. Please carefully look at this photo first. You can tell that they are like a child, so I think their appearance he may look rather naive. No matter how old he is, he just looks like the kind who is somewhat immature. And when he laughs, it's quite special. He is especially infectious. His character is rather lively. He is a more cheerful person. He also likes fresh food, a bit free and easy. He doesn't like to be restrained by others, but if he has a little interest, he has a kind of 3-minute passion for anything. He should be a person who quite enjoys sports. Next, let's look at the Holy Grail Dance Mystery card, which is the last 2 cards. I would feel a bit like your state. I think you would be one. He is a person who values emotions a lot. You would pay great attention to this. It's about some communication aspects in your relationship with him. You would really enjoy interacting and communicating with him, and you'd like to confirm whether he loves you or not. But his words, well, they're the sort that come from your question. If you ask him a question once or twice, he might not mind, but if you ask too many, he might find it annoying. It's like you really want to go there. At the beginning of the communication, he can be actively cooperative, but if you always ask too much, he will feel a bit annoyed, and he will have a desire, the feeling of escape. But luckily, a new status appeared. Then I will feel it is you and him getting along, is after the problems appear, there's also some reflection going on. There isn't that kind of long-standing emotion in the present. You have it too. It's better than the upright cup dance, because if it's the upright cup dance, he is still immersed in that state and can't get out. Then there is reflection but no action. But if it's the holy grail dance of the secret god, then you also have reflection. Actions are also a little bit. Finally, let's look at the last appearance of the Monument Queen's proper chapter card. The comparison of these two chapter cards can be seen. There's clearly a certain hierarchy between you two. You're obviously much more mature than him. It's not about age. You might be in a May-December relationship, but I think you're much more mature mentally. And in love, the Queen of Cups. Anyone who has watched my video knows that he is a love lad. He is the kind who likes to give unconditionally, that kind. You are the kind of lover who likes to give, very thoughtful and also quite sensitive and easily. During dating, it's easy to give the other person that kind of suffocating feeling, especially the suffocating feeling of a total war demonstration. It will become more intense. This is an interpretation of this set of cards. Hope it can help you all. Finally, let's look at the third set of cards. Speaking of the third set of cards, I would think your full moon beauty score should be quite high. But his appearance should be more linear. His face or the kind with more lines should be the cool type. You can tell from his appearance and the aura he exudes. A quite high energy boy who has a sense of being in a person's situation doesn't quite seem like that kind. He's the kind of boy who's quite funny. The priest that appears secretly, if that's station sign, I would think his figure is also relatively tall. Well, talking about her height, the priestess is relatively taller among the males, and her appearance is also quite good. You go die, I want you to die. The festival is still something, but comparatively speaking, it's still one. This card signifies self-discipline. I would perceive him as a guy who takes good care of his physique, not the sloppy type. I don't think the boy with a hanging belly should be it. Even though he has a bit of a belly, he would still control himself and pay some attention to his physique management. First, let's look at the priestess that appears in the chess game. I think she should be a different kind of goddess. I think this set of cards, is indeed a central air conditioning business. It maintains a distance from other girls, but when it comes to you, it will be in a reverse state, a bit out of control. This kind of high priestess, generally speaking, is a bit indifferent. It's a more rational, more calm type. It just looks and feels there. There's a sense of alienation, as if there's an invisible wall between you and your father when you stand together. But when he's in front of you, it is reversed, it is out of control. He'll be more enthusiastic, no longer so aloof, feels like a human. The high priestess in this arrangement appears more like a saint than a mortal, but when faced with you, it's a bit like a mortal with all kinds of emotions and desires. There are also multiple sensitivities and such. Next, let's take a look at the floppy disk of the Wheel of Fortune. Regarding that sign, I think it's your encounter, and your acquaintance and love are actually a kind of destiny, because the destiny card is a kind of fate, a destined feeling. It really is. You say there is an inevitable connection. There is indeed an inevitable connection. You say it happens by chance. It also happens by chance, but it has more of a sense of fate. There is a feeling of destiny between you and him, and if he appears, it is a positive. I would think that your union is pretty good. At least it will be a pleasant experience. Don't know about the future results. Because many people are a bit mistaken about the term political assistance, it's not necessarily given. The person you married may not necessarily be one of your witnesses. Your fate is the right person, but he may not necessarily be your spouse. Then let's take a look at the card of the Six of Cups. I would think that this card you might have in the past. This card actually represents a memory that is a memory of starvation. This is a kind of past memory. I would think that this card appearing here is a vocabulary that helps you. You see a little boy giving a little girl a money flower. You'll think he's actually quite capable and can protect you. And he's also willing to protect you. But if you stay by his side, you will feel a sense of full security. It feels like a flower in a greenhouse. It will take good care of you. That's my interpretation of these three love groups. Hope it helps you.